Good evening, everybody. This is the Hillcrest Hillcrest Middle School Building Committee virtual meeting. It is August 19th, 2025, 7 p.m. This is a regularly scheduled building committee meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order by starting the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to share my screen. And if you guys can put your mics on, we could say the pledge and then we'll take a roll call. Okay, you guys ready? You see my screen?
Yep.
Got it.
All righty, beautiful. So let's start. I pledge allegiance
To
To
the
the
flag
flag
of the
of the
United
United
States
States of America,
America,
and to
and
the
to the
republic
Republic,
for which it
which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice
for all. Thank you so much, everybody. Barbara, would you like to take the roll call, please?
Joe Costa,
Here.
Andrew Lubin,
Here.
J.C. Sinelli, Bill Mecca,
Here.
Fran Basbigill,
Here.
Ann Sather,
Here.
Bob Gerbert,
Here.
Jeff Alterman,
Here.
and John Morello is not available.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining the building committee meeting tonight. We have a regular agenda. We're going to have some interesting presentations tonight, I hope. And we'll also have to vote on a invoice that we received tonight. We'll go through that in a couple minutes. But first, what I'd like is a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting, which was August 5th, 2025. Could I get somebody to make a motion for that?
So moved.
Okay, that's Andy. And was second, was that you, Fran?
I second. Ann seconds.
Go ahead.
Ann, okay, Ann, thank you. Any discussions on the minutes? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstention.
Okay, who is that?
JC, I wasn't present, so I'm gonna abstain.
Okay, thank you, JC. Appreciate it. Okay, so motion carries. Thank you, everybody. So I mentioned, is there any public comment tonight? Okay, hearing none, let's move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the review and approval of invoices. Barbara, I don't know if you can share the invoice, the Taisu Kim invoice. Can't?
No,
Does anybody, Emily, do you have that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, do you mind? Hi, how are you?
Hi.
You can introduce yourself first, and then we can look at the invoice.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Emily Cifuentes. I'm with Arcadis, and I am the financial controls person for this project, attending on behalf of Jack Butkus tonight. And before you, you have TSKP invoice number 2 through July 31st in the amount of $410,000. Jack has reviewed and approves for payment and recommends this for chairman's signature.
Okay, any questions, any discussion about the services? I notice it's 60% schematic design. That's what they're billing up to.
Is the approved for payment a town stamp, or is that from Trumbull, or is that from Arcadis?
From Arcadis, the process has been that we will review the architect, the construction manager's invoice, and any other invoices. If we don't recommend payment, it will go back to each individual and then be brought forward for you to review and approve.
And Joe, do we need to sign off before we approve it? Do we need to sign off from Kevin or from Bova?
The last time we did this is we had a vote by the committee, and then it was sent to me for my signature. I'm assuming we're going to do the same thing. I would assume that Taisu Kim did get paid because they keep showing up at meetings.
We met with Maria, both Kevin Bova from the procurement department and Kevin from the Board of Ed side, along with Lisa, and we agreed that the process would be, we would review the invoices except our own. That would go to Kevin. Kevin would just recommend payment be brought to the committee. If you all agree, then Joe would be the final sign off before I send to the town for payment.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions on this invoice? No? Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion to approve, Bill Mecca.
Okay, Bill,
Second.
thank you. Second,
Second, JC.
JC. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, new business. I'm gonna hand it over to Mike or Randall. Who's doing the presentation tonight, or
I-
both of you gonna tag team this?
I think Michael will regale you
Yeah,
with
I'll take it.
tales.
Okay,
Take it.
Michael.
Yeah. Randall wouldn't let me do it unless you approve the invoice, but since you approved it, I can jump in. So I think this will be a little, should be a brief presentation tonight from our end. Thank you all for continuing to come in what is, the last days of summer. But just to be clear, we have a complete survey as an update. Geotech has mobilized and we've gotten at least the preliminary probe results back. We need to work with structural to set the finished floor based on the completed survey, and then Geotech will complete their report with their recommendations. Langen has done all the building hazmat sampling that they need to do while the students were out of the building. Those have been sent to the lab. They are formulating an opinion of probable cost for the abatement of the existing building. And most of the site environmental has been complete. We had an issue with Eversource and an old transformer room getting access to that. So that's still hanging out there, but I don't think that will present a problem for access. Even if it dragged in to September, I think it would be okay with kids on site. We've continued our meetings with town staff, having a more robust meeting with town professional staff, including the fire marshal and Parks and Recs, among other people. That has led us to adjust the site plan that we reviewed with you last time. And probably most importantly, the design team has assembled a set of drawings and narratives to go in for pricing with both Bismarck and our third-party estimator. Those documents were sent out last Friday, and tomorrow morning, or tomorrow, we have a page turn with both of those estimating parties, just so that we can cut through all the quick questions that they might have about what we intend when we use certain terms or draw things a certain way. So the pricing for schematic design is underway. This is the survey from Langen. It is now officially complete. It's been stitched together. You can see the existing school. You can see the site utilities laid out. The wetlands have been flagged, and that portion has been complete as well. Last time we were here, you requested the survey, a copy of the survey, which we're happy to provide. I assumed that I would send that to Kevin Dion's attention. Perhaps would be the best recipient for that. I can send it as a paper copy and as a DWG, if that's helpful. These are the geotechnical borings that were taken, and we also have the boring logs for these. We do note the boring number 7 and boring number 6 had considerable fill, which tracks pretty well with our understanding of how the pit field was constructed. You know, this was probably once a natural slope that went down um, into the canyon beyond. And what was done is behind the nanatorium, they cut a bunch of soil and pushed it to create this flat corner, and then pushed all of that excess soil to this corner to create that flat corner. So this amount of fill is considerable. It's paired right next to boring number 8, where they hit rock at 5 feet. So there is good structural bearing nearby, but we'll have to balance this out with where we set the finished floor for this building, and then get a recommendation from Geotech to really drill down, no pun intended, as to how we're going to support that corner of the building.
Mike,
Um,
Mike, this is Andy. I didn't mean to interrupt before. When you were talking about the inland wetland, did he flag the inland wetland areas? And if he, I mean, is it anybody's anticipation that we need inland wetland permits in connection with the construction?
Well, you can see this corner right now is in the 100-foot upland review area. We'll have to understand what we're doing, both subsurface and above surface here, to really be able to say with confidence that we don't need any extra regulatory effort. We will bring this whole site plan application to inland wetlands regardless, as just
Okay.
as a matter of course.
Okay, good. Okay.
They're meeting with Tatiana. I think I have her name correct in your town office. She's more or less point person for that whole department, and she will steer us through.
Great.
Many of these other soil borings, you know, we're uncovering a sandy subsurface, you know, up to depths of about 10 feet. And depending on where we land with our finished floor, we'll see what Geotech says for any extra or additional ground improvements that may be called for in these areas. Lastly, this is the site plan that we submitted for pricing, and hopefully it largely looks familiar to you, which, you know, when projects are moving well like this one, you're constantly making adjustments, but you're not making radical changes. You're just improving it as more information comes in. So hopefully this largely looks familiar. This is Daniel Farms Road over here. This is the shared access road that gets you back to the entire campus beyond. Here in gray is the silhouette of the existing building. And you can see we're coming off the existing nanatorium a little more than 60 feet with our new construction, which pushes us into that berm that goes down to the pit, and then we're largely into the pit here. Last time, and then we'll construct this, the kids will move in, then we'll take this down. And once we take that down, we'll get this parking lot in place. We'll get the rest of this parking lot in place with its vehicular loop. And then we'll get this play field here. And then depending on the will of this committee and the budget, we have the opportunity to construct an additional field, maybe some hard courts here, and some parking here to replace the high school parking that we'll be taking offline that's currently along this edge, along the existing school. We could relocate that parking here. When we showed you this site plan before, we showed an access road that came down this berm and came between the top of this slope and the toe of this building back to this service yard, which we could still do as a fortified grass path. But what the fire marshal much preferred is having something along this side, which gets the firefighters out of the fall zone of this 3-story structure and still allows access, full truck access to 3 sides of the building. We'd expand the paving down here such that it was sufficient for a ladder truck turnaround or K-turn to get out. There's still plenty of room back here for an area of refuge for half the school here. So if students need to evac, they have a plowed area, free and clear area that's out of the way of the fire trucks. The other thing that we're pricing and recommending is improving this gated access here off the public right of way, widening the gate and throat here, still putting a gate on it, but then also widening the turn radiuses. So larger emergency vehicles have a better shot of utilizing this should something happen up at this intersection at some point in time. We'll continue to monitor the impacts to the JV field. We do think we'll take a good portion of this field offline, either for staging or for the geothermal well field, the geothermal well field, maybe a combination of both ultimately, and then bring it back online after the well field's constructed. Any thoughts, questions, or concerns? I can zoom in if anyone would like to see it in more detail.
Committee, any questions?
Yeah, I do, Bill Mecca. I think, and of course, this is getting ahead of things a little bit. I think along the way, it would be helpful for us to know, in terms of how we manage the budget, exactly how much money that additional field and maybe that hardcore slash pickleball, area may cost, right? Because it just may not be feasible, or we have a working estimate to try to do our best to stick to that. Because one thing I'm thinking of is, we do the best we can, and then there's just not money left over for something quote unquote extra. And then it's going to become a while before the town finds funds in order to complete that. But I just throw that out there just to keep that in mind as we move along.
Yeah, yes. We will get discrete pricing on this parking lot, this field, and these hard courts as part of the schematic design pricing effort. The other nice thing, we will likely bid all of this work at once, with the exception of some early enabling pieces, but we don't want to hold the demo and all of this construction off as a separate bid, because we want you to be able to award this big amount of cash with confidence that you'll have enough to do this. But in reality, I think we could keep these as alternates for a very long time in the project. And if worst comes to worst, dead last, if you're out of contingency money, you could just not execute those portions, or issue a deductive change order back out of the scope of work to the GMP. So it's you'll be waited. I'm sure a good chunk of your community will be waiting with bated breath on these two items, but it's nice as a building committee to have that flexibility on the back end of a project of this size.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Michael tonight? I've got a couple of quick questions, Mike, if you don't mind.
Sure, Joe.
So the first one has to do with the ed spec. So does the ed spec stipulate ball fields or types of fields, or have any detail of what is actually called for in the ed specs regarding fields? Is there anything like that in there? Do you remember?
Yeah, there's outdoor athletic fields called for. It is not clear as to the count or disposition of those fields.
Okay.
I would say, particularly if we start drifting over into pickleball courts, you know, in the past, OGA has been amenable to a revision of the ed spec along the way. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not abnormal. And given that currently there is a teaching program to do pickleball right now in this current gymnasium, I would just write it into the ed spec just to make sure that it maintained its eligibility.
Okay. The other question has to do with the inventory of what's there currently
Hmm.
versus what we're going to have at the end.
Hmm.
Do you guys have basically no net loss of fields, or are we losing anything? I'm just not familiar with the current
Yeah.
layout.
Well, I mean, Parks and Rec may have a slightly different opinion about this. We did review this with them. I would say that this field here and these courts represent a pure add
Okay.
to the campus. This field here replaces this field that we're consuming. We
Mhm.
are either shifting this field or reskinning it as a consequence of this project,
Mhm.
where we are gobbling things up a little bit is field 9 currently is a little bit longer. So, um, Trumbull Days may actually occasionally put stuff over here. What Parks and Rec felt strongly about was maintaining the length of field 14 and 9 like this, because they're constantly shifting this field up and down as field use changes
Yeah.
season by season. So
And that's fairly flat in
we are
there.
nibbling. Yeah.
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 So along that score, I think it would be very helpful if we could inventory before and then as proposed, because we know
Okay.
that question is going to come up at
Okay.
some point or another, and I want to have an answer for that. The other
Okay.
question about ed spec has to do with parking, both for staff and visitors. Number of buses, did they stipulate stacking of buses? And then the final question, of course, has to do with the stacking of parents for drop off and pickup. Those are sort of touch points that people are going to ask us about,
Hmm.
and I want to make sure that we have good answers. We know that we're improving the traffic condition tremendously with this current configuration and that long length that we
Hmm.
have to get people off of that road as you come off of Daniel's Farm. So I think it's a fantastic improvement to what we have here, but people are going to want to know, what we have for stacking now and what we're going to have in the future.
Right. Right.
Okay. The
Yes.
other the other question I have is north straight up parallel with the building, perpendicular with the building, or is it with the field? I don't see a north arrow on this map.
North is straight up with the
Sh-
building. The building is dead north south.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's the optimum orientation for the classrooms from a solar standpoint.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right.
Okay, good. And the other question has to do with service. I know that you guys were looking at different locations for service. I don't know. Did you talk about that? Did I miss that?
No, we haven't briefed you on it. We haven't concluded that with UI other than our initial finding, our initial conversations with UI, because they bring in two parallel services currently to this building. We don't think the PV array is going to exceed the capacity of those services. We have a comfortable buffer. We're comfortably below that right now. We have to monitor that as the project develops to make sure that we're delivering on the low EUI, which will also continue to drive the PV array to a manageable size.
Okay. I wasn't referring to electrical service, but thank you
Oh,
for that answer. I was
okay.
talking about the service to the dumpsters and the kitchen side.
Oh,
It's something easier to answer.
yeah, there we go. No, we'll work with Kevin's team on making sure that a the right size truck can come around this loop off hours and back into here and then back out. And
Okay.
we'll have Langen run those numbers. This road down here really will only be used by the service yard people. That's a good word too, service there too. Um, and emergency vehicles.
Mhm. And you can
Okay.
make the grades down there because you got quite a grade change around that bend.
Yeah, but I mean this um left field line, our third baseline pretty much does that right now. I mean it runs that slope. So we just have to link into it here. You can see us sort of in this slightly darker green we're shading where we think the major topography will be here.
Okay, and then the final question, I promise this will be the last one,
That's
has
fine.
to do with the interim plan, right? So at
Yes.
some point, we're going to have the new school built. We're going to have part of the site plan built. We're going to have an existing building, and we're going to need to park people and get people in and
Mhm.
out of the building. Have you guys given
Mhm.
any thought to that sort of 6-month interim plan as we're finishing up the site work?
We haven't drawn it out with Bismarck, but in reality, the lawn in front of this building will go in last because we want to be able to get a loop around here. We'll similarly need to adjust this road temporarily here until this building can come down and we can get back out of the way of this field. So there'll be some adjustments here in the area that's currently paved. We'll just use that as a roadbed. But we'll work through all of that, and we'll have to work through it with the educators. Because even if we get cars or buses in front of the school, we have to get the other thing likely over here where we currently have the canopies and this paved area.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were some ideas about access for construction folks. I think you guys were talking about a road that comes along
Yeah,
there. So
yeah,
what we just want to do is we want to see what the interim plan looks like,
yeah, yeah,
so that
absolutely.
we can develop a high level of confidence that this is able to be a school even
Yeah.
while we're building the new school.
No, I mean, not only do kids have to everyone has to be safe, right? The kids have to be safe. The construction workers have to be safe. The firefighters need to be able to get in here, God forbid if something happens. So it all has to be worked out. Um, and in discussing things with Bismarck, it sounds like they're gonna wanna, because so much construction activities happening right here, they'll want some more staging down here as well. They
Yeah,
won't be able to just stage here. This will
yeah,
create a choke point for them
yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah. I suspect Field 10 will be used for that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They're not going to have much of a choice. Probably better to be down there anyway.
Correct, but
That,
that's also probably where that bore field's going to be for all the geothermal.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
what you can do is you can do that early and then just use it for staging.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Tear it up once and then
Exactly.
be done with it. Yeah.
Get
Okay.
trailers down there.
Very good.
Yeah, Jeff had a question. I just want to give him a chance to, and then Jim.
Yeah, I had mentioned this, I think I'd mentioned this in one of the earlier meetings. Down at the bottom, the existing service yard where you were talking about the emergency vehicles being able to turn around down there. Is it possible to add just a few like temporary, for lack of a better word, temporary parking spaces, like for staff that's down on that end of the building, if there's a day once in a while where you have a large load you're carrying in with you, that way they could park in the back, even though that wouldn't be their regular parking space, but they could access the building through the back like that. Could we add a few spaces in there?
I, I, I don't see a reason to say no to that, Jeff. I just think we just have to work out the real geometry of what's going down there. I mean, this is all these rectangles are based on the survey, but they're really, particularly these units down here, really strike me more as a consequence of circumstance rather than of design intention. So if in improving this area here, we can tighten everything up and create a few spaces, that's fine. And then your superintendent or your principal will have to figure out how they police those spots.
I mean, that wouldn't be like your regular parking place, but like on a special circumstance kind of day, being able to access that end of the building would be helpful.
Well, as architects, we always like to try to reserve priority parking for us should we have to visit the building too.
I was going to say, Mike, that the sign can have a JA on it.
I'm all for that.
There we go. There we go.
We we can find some money for the little sign for you, Joe. Any other questions for the design team?
Jim,
Yes.
Jim had a
Oh, Jim,
question.
yeah.
Yeah, Mike, just a quick one. Do you have any, can you tell us what percentage completion you are with the schematics at this point?
Well, we're billing you for 60. We're pushing along pretty well here. We'd like to get some cost information back to make sure we're still in the ballpark, but we're pretty far along. We have all the drawings that we intend to issue issued, and I'm still wrapping up a structural narrative and a civil landscape narrative, but we'll button those down in the next week or so and then conclude the pricing effort end of this month, beginning of September.
You said 60, right?
60.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
that the invoice you just approved is for 60%.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
we're further ahead than that, but that's okay.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions about the site plan?
All right. Thank you.
Is that it, Mike? Are you done? Okay. So I got a request. I don't know if you could CC the building committee of that package that you're issuing. If you're ready to do that, we'd love to be able to look at it ourselves, and perhaps the next time we meet, have some questions on that.
I can. If it just to keep the emails down to a minimum, I would like to close the gap with the structural narrative and the civil narrative. But once I have those two parts in, we'll stitch it together, and
Yeah.
Jeff or I will send it out to you.
When you're
Okay.
ready. When you're ready for that, we'd love to see it.
Yeah. So Joe, I have a thought on that, and just put it out there. We would the reason we didn't already issue it to everyone is that pending the estimate, we may need to recalibrate some things, and we didn't want to show people stuff that was going to end up going away. But that's for you to decide if you just soon see it in process, or do you want us to come to you with something that we can deliver for a price that we're all agreed.
Well, I mean, the last thing we saw was a couple weeks ago, and it was still,
Yeah.
kind of loose and kind of amorphous. So, we're just interested to see what you're
Sure.
talking to the estimators about. I think that would be very
Absolutely.
helpful. So
Okay.
that's
Not a problem.
that's the way I'm looking at it. I understand that there will be adjustments, and there's a lot of development that has to still happen, but was just wondering what that package looks like.
I imagine you are. I imagine you are. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for the design team before we move on to the next item? Everybody good? Thank you, Michael and Randall. Appreciate it. At this point, we're going to switch it over to Emily and sitting in for Jack Butkus and Robert tonight. Emily, you already introduced yourself. Do you want to give us a little update on what's going on?
Yeah, so tonight, Jack was going to be presenting the budget, but unfortunately a family commitment came up. So, and Rob is on vacation, but figuring that we're talking about budget and numbers, I might as well be here to answer your questions and kind of walk you through. Before you is, we have taken the grant amounts that were listed, and you'll see in a column labeled B, it's our recommended budget adjustments to each of the amounts based on our current experience with projects that are similar to this one, currently where we see the market going. And on the following column, you'll see a recommended budget. Our goal tonight is to have that recommended budget be the column that we will use moving forward, and it will establish the project budget. If approved tonight, Maria can set up the project account codes for the remaining lines, and we can begin reporting on any type of expenses and encumbrances moving forward, starting with the next meeting. So I will walk you through, and please let me know when to stop if you would like to ask any questions. So before you, this on the left-hand side, you have the town project cost of $142,375. There's a project financing cost that Maria provided in the amount of $1,412,177. The total amount approved at the time of referendum was $142,375. I'm sorry, that calculation is wrong. But the state grant is $140,962,823. This is the number that the state is going to set up the progress payment request system against the $140,962,823. The grant approval letter has come back listing this number, listing that the state of Connecticut will reimburse if all is eligible up to 62 million and change, and the rest would be an estimated town costs. If you would like, we can show you what it would be if it's up to 5% ineligibles. We can do that too. Otherwise, this amount right here, 62 million, is right straight from the grant approval letter. Most committees would like to see more of a true upfront number since the beginning, and that will be up to you to let me know how would you like to see it. Working our way down, we have the architect and engineering services line. Your grant went in at $7,082,972. The actual contract value is $5,490,000. So we took those savings and credited it back down to the owner contingency. The owner's representative budget amount at the grant was $1,623,571. We are actually at $1,267,063. Another credit coming back down to the bottom line. The commissioning agent, the grant budget was at $184,005. In discussions with both Rob and Jack, they both felt that this line should be bumped up to $250. If at the end of the bids and the fees all come in lower, we would make this a credit and put back to the bottom line. But they feel that this number right now is their best estimate. The environmental consultant is within the architect line. So although your grant said 125, we took a credit for the bottom number. Testing and inspection, 215, 250. Looking at most of our most recent projects, we feel more comfortable at 250,000. So we increased that line by 34,750. The line for other consultants, which can be used for your third-party party reviewer, for your structural engineer, or for any other type of service that is not detailed out as owner's rep, commissioning, environmental, or testing, can go in this line. And we're actually increasing this line to $200,000. Moving is currently at the grant level at $264,753. We actually feel that $200,000 would be enough for this project. Builder's risk, we're leaving as is at $184,500. Once the project gets going down the road, the GMP is established, and your builder's risk carrier is able to see all the breakdown of all the bids, they can actually tell us if this number is stable or if it will go up or down. All of these costs up here are reimbursable by the state of Connecticut, so they will be eligible for reimbursement. Moving down, we move over to town services. Town legal services, currently at the grant level, is at $50,000. We feel this should be $75,000 since you do have an outside counsel and invoices will be coming in. The bond counsel fee line at the grant was $491,190. As you can see, we took the full credit of $491,190 because the town financing cost is 1 million and it's a separate line. It's below the project. So we, Jack felt that we can take that and move it down to the bottom line. Other town costs, staff costs, Jack mentioned that it would be, if for Barbara's time to bill, we would bill it in this line and we would leave it at 50,000. From the last meeting, he came back to me and advised that there would be a PPA termination fee. Based on the year he mentioned, it would be 350,000 that would come from this project. And we added that line in there. It wasn't previously there. There's a state ed fee and town permit fee. We did a calculation and he felt 50,000 should be fine. Printing and mailing or any type of advertisement. Currently, it is not required to be publishing in a newspaper. And our discussions with the town at the finance meeting, it was advised that they still do publish in a newspaper, but we still felt that 30,000 would be plenty for that cost. All of these costs are ineligible for reimbursement with the exception of the advertisement. Moving on to pre-construction, the grant had pre-construction at 189,417. We actually had to increase that line to match with Bismarck's pre-con value of 199,435. The current grant value for actual construction stands at 118,199,159. That is your actual hard cost construction number. FF&E is at the grant value of $3,002,363. Looking at the cost that we've put out some projects out to bid and used on state contract pricing and the number of students, we feel more comfortable at 3.5. So we increased that amount. Same thing with communication technology. We moved it up to 2.5. Playground is going to be made part of, it's not part of this project because it's a middle school, unless things change, but it was removed. Which brings between all the increases and decreases, a net increase to your owner contingency of $1,498,961. Your grant value had it at $6,675,005. With all the adjustments as recommended, your owner contingency would be $8,173,966. And that's 6.9 against the GMP and a 5.8 owner contingency against the total project cost of $140,962,823. The reason we're showing them as listed in 3 lines, again, is because the state grant is $140,962,823. The project financing costs, $1,412,177 is ineligible for reimbursement. And we tie out to the pre-referendum amount of $142,375. Are there any questions?
Emily, what do you consider project financing costs?
From what Maria email explained to me, it was 1%. So it's all of the bond costs that it's going to cost all the costs that it will take to bond out this project. So your Moody's, your US Bank, any type of those type of bonding costs, which is why we took the 491 off the grant line and just placed it here.
I have a few questions unless somebody else wants to go. I can wait. If no one does, I'll jump in.
Sure.
Okay. Can you explain to me, please, what the PPA termination fee is?
Jack came back from last meeting and said the power purchasing agreement, there is a termination fee.
Oh, for the solar on the roof already. Okay. And that is just the contract buyout
Yeah.
fee,
So
I guess, right? Has
yeah.
nothing to do with what else might happen with those panels. Okay.
Yeah. And Jim, we're hoping to enter into another agreement that
Yeah.
maybe we can offset some of those losses. You know, if we enter into another 20-year agreement, they may waive part of it. They may bury it in the package. I don't know. I mean, I think it's worth a conversation.
Yeah, so I agree, Joe. There's some of these are smaller. Not going to spend time now. I mean, the legal is going to be a little lower and some other things there. But in the town, there'll be no permit fees to the town. We don't charge ourselves. There would be a state fee, but not a town fee.
Okay.
Um,
And I can make those changes now if you as a committee say, Emily, we feel 75 is a little bit higher for legal. Can we shift it down to 50? I can
Yeah.
make the change and move that to the owner contingency line.
Contingency. Is there a CM contingency in
The CM contingency is separate from your owner contingency. So that
No, I
will
realize. I just don't
yeah.
see it anywhere. That's what I'm saying.
No,
It-
it's not part of this budget. I mean, if you would like, once the CM contingency is established, we can do a tally here at the bottom, but typically we only show you your owner contingency.
Yeah, Emily, we don't know
Okay.
what's in the GMP.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming there's going to be a backup sheet that covers that 118. Probably don't
Yeah.
have it now, but eventually we'll have it.
Yep.
Greg, you can jump
Yeah.
in here at any time.
Yeah, of course, we're gonna have that when we get through these schematic DD, CD, and that'll be an adjustable number, I think.
Yeah, and the reason that's why we didn't increase it or decrease it, because this is what was on the grant application. When your numbers were put together, it was an estimated hard construction of 118. If your GMP, once you put out all the bids, comes in less than a 118, then that's great. We lower that number, take the credit. We typically most of our clients like to create a bid savings line below the owner contingency. It's a line that they don't use, but if they want to have something done afterwards, then they start looking at that as a separate placeholder. But this line is going to be adjusted once the GMP is finalized with all the bids and all calculations.
Okay, I
Hey,
just
Emily,
had a-
are we? I'm sorry, who was that, Jim?
yeah, I just had a couple
Go
more,
ahead.
Joe. I won't
Go ahead, Jim.
be long. On the FF&E numbers, did you say you increased them based on some other projects you're seeing? Is that what you said?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
with the tariffs, the way that they're going, I mean,
Yeah.
the architect still has to meet with the working groups and see what's going to be needed, what will be required. But Jack felt that by taking it to 3.5 would be a good starting point. So your original list is not very tightened.
No, I'm not questioning. It's a percentage wise, it's a lot large increases. So I guess you're seeing those numbers come in high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We just bid it out. We just put out a bid on an elementary school, and we had to increase our budget from what we were thinking.
I see.
The tariffs, again, the change market right now is just it's a little bit crazy, and I don't know if it's everybody's just using an increase just to cover themselves or what it is, but in places where we have not used a state contract and we've gone out to bid, still we see an increase in pricing.
Okay, that's all I have. Thanks.
Yeah, my question, Emily, was the project financing. Is that a percentage based?
Yeah, Maria said it was 1%.
Okay, so you're going to just hold that all the way through the job. So we're not going to see that go up and down or change
No.
at all. Okay.
No, not at all. Nope.
All right. And the other columns to the right of that one,
So the
what are
other
those?
columns, you'll start seeing in here everything that's been paid to date. Your munis data will be if, for example, in your first September meeting, you'll see as of 8/31/25 or 9/1/25. So you'll see the 2 TSKP invoices that have been paid will be shown up here. The next column is the encumbrances. So the architect has been encumbered 5.4. We already know our contract will be encumbered, so we're tallying 1.2. Then there's the pre-construction, so you'll start seeing that. The uncommitted balance is anything that's not encumbered. What have you left? So if your commissioning came in at 200,000, you'll see an uncommitted balance of 50,000. That again, as a committee, if you were to say, let's take that savings and not show an uncommitted balance and just put it all towards the owner contingency, we can do that. Some clients like to leave it there in case of an amendment or any additional increases that might come up. They'll just won't touch the owner contingency. They already have it budgeted and they'll just take it from there. And of course, the total project cost aligns with the recommended budget. And then you'll see your percentages as to how much you've been spending.
Okay, any questions on those columns? Building committee? Jim, anybody?
No.
Nope. Andy, you have something?
No, I just was, my question was as the project finance, whether or not that was a solid 1%, but I mean, let's leave it there for, there's no reason to change that now. It's a budget amount.
Yeah. Okay.
What's up,
All right. Well,
Everything good?
I don't have a concern with the proposed column of numbers as they are. You know, certainly this is one of those documents that's going to be a living document, and it will change on a month-to-month basis. Some numbers will. I don't really have any concerns. I don't know if anybody else does with any of those numbers.
Certainly bounces as of today.
Well, I kind of like the fact that our contingency went up
Yeah.
instead of down. That's sort of a good first step.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have more of those, Emily.
I'm hoping, yes, I'm hoping we will. And
One other possibility just to keep in mind, wouldn't want to change now, is when we were talking about, you've netted out a $375,000 number for the playground. And I guess since it's in the contingency, we don't care, but that may go back to that extra field potentially that we were talking about later on.
Sure. Pickleball or whatever.
Yeah.
Or parking or anything else that may come up. Sure.
See what happens when the bids come in.
Money is there, right?
yeah. So so if you have no recommendations of changing any amounts in this column,
No, leave them for now.
moving forward, this column becomes your project budget. Any changes or any adjustments starting the month of September, you'll see here. There will always be an accompanying sheet for owner contingency as to any charges that hit the owner contingency. So you know, if you started at 8 million and you see that it's you know, an 8,173,000 and you see it's 8 million, the sheet will tell you where you spent that 173, where did it go? So you'll always know. The other thing I wanted to ask was, is this as much detail as you would like to see every month, or would you like to see a summarized version of the soft costs and hard costs only? Well, then, it depends on how you would like to see the information. I have clients that want both. I have clients that just want the details, and some that just want hard versus soft costs.
How hard is it to produce both?
It's not that hard, really. Like I said, I have clients that want both. So every month they say, give me both views. Give me the summary, which shows me soft and hard, and then give me the full detailed breakdown along with my owner contingency. So it becomes part of your entire package.
I would definitely like to keep the full detail, at least, that's for sure.
And then that's what I was saying, because I assumed that some would want it and then some would not want it. Why don't we just if it's not any big deal to produce both, then it's seemingly better maybe to have both.
Okay.
Is the rest of the committee okay with that?
I think that's
Yeah.
a good idea.
Okay.
I like that idea.
All right. JC, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with it too.
Yeah. Bob, you're kind of quiet tonight.
Yeah, I'm good.
You good? Jeff, you can see it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'll probably the more simplified version for me, but obviously the people that know the finances better, give them the full detailed one.
Fantastic. How about you, Fran? You okay with that level of detail?
Yep.
Fantastic. Okay. Sounds like that's what we're going to do.
All right.
Oh, Bill, I'm sorry. I missed you.
Yeah, no, I'm good as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Right, so as starting the September meeting, this will no longer say draft. This column becomes your starting point for the project budget. And Rob will walk you through both views of the budget. I am always reachable. So if you have any questions or would like to make further changes, let our team know and we will make those adjustments.
Okay,
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Nice and clean. Switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk to Bismarck and get Greg's update if you have one, Greg. And then I do want to ask Kevin Bova about the commissioning RFP that we're waiting to get out on the street. I don't know, Emily, if you're briefed on that from Jack. I know that Jack and Kevin have been working on that.
Yeah, that's as much as I know myself, that they're working together on getting that out. And we're getting some calls soon.
Okay. Kevin, do you have an update for the committee? If you know.
Yeah, so I'm on version 3. I was waiting for somebody, I believe it was from Jack's office. I think he's on vacation to the 25th. So I have to wait for him to get back for stuff that if we want to change. I took all the stuff out that you asked Joe that did doubled up in the specification requirements and the boilerplate. I think I have about 90% done. The formal bid, I'll have Kevin Dion just fill it out, the formal bid request. And then I have that October date, so we still have plenty of time. That's one of the advertising we do go in the paper with. It's not a lot of money. It's like $500 for every bid we advertise, if people want to know what advertisement was. But so I'm real close to that. And then the other thing I have the contract for Arcadius. That's all set. Jack has it. I have it. I just have to wait for Emily to bring all the original bids back to the
Jack will
town.
bring that tomorrow,
Yeah.
Kevin.
So we're gonna get that back, and then we're gonna put everything in a file cabinet. And Emily's gonna come. She'll have keys to the file cabinet we have in Nichols' room. We're gonna start really tracking it and at least have a spot for everything, all the contracts, all the awards, all the bids. But I'll put the award purchase rec together for Arcadius, and then once I get all the stuff back, and then the last one I need is the contract with, I think Jim is still working with Bismarck. We'll finish that up and do a purchase order on that one also. So everything will be encumbered, or at least you'll see it better on the financials. Every service that we hired out and what we put a PO to. And then from there, we're pretty much set. And then Maria just wanted to make sure, because we had a little confusion last time, remember a few weeks ago, that Jack's gonna do all the invoices and change orders except for his own business. He'll have it bring it to the committee. The committee will discuss it, approve it, review it, whatever you guys want to do. Once it's approved, Joe, you will sign all invoices and hand them to Maria. Any change orders you will sign after the committee approves, and then I'll take those and put them in the file cabinet and make the changes on the POs. So it's a pretty cut and dry thing, and I'll be with Emily and our finance team will be with Emily. But Emily, I just want to know, Maria wanted to maybe we can start putting on a calendar, our once a month meeting with us, Arcadius in the town, the finance that we had last time.
Yep. Yes.
Once it starts rolling a little bit, and then we'll understand some more numbers also.
Yeah, of course.
So we're good. We're really good. Everything is good so far. So real happy with everything.
Oh, good. So just to circle back, when do you expect to have our commissioning agent on board? Because I know that we're at the tail end of schematics very soon, and I would like them to participate in that. So what's your approximate
I think if we
timeframe
get it
on
out
that?
in September, I think, if we get it out in the timely fashion, which is only mid of third week of August, we get it out sometime like third week of September, we should have them sign an award, because I don't think, Jim, this will be a big contract, but by the first week of October.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate that. So switch over to Greg at this point, unless there's any questions for Kevin from the committee. You guys okay? All right, great. Greg, you want to give us a little update?
Yeah, good evening. One thing that we got drawings last Thursday or Friday from Michael Scott, and we started finally digging through those and looking forward to our page turn tomorrow. Already iron out questions. Hopefully we can get a budget together within the next 3 weeks. One thing I know Michael and I talked about roughly next date we're looking schedule wise. I think it was the 8th that would be delivering that schematic design. Joe, is that what you have? I was trying to look at when the schedules
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't have it in front of me, Greg. I don't know,
Okay.
Michael, if you want to answer that question, or Randall.
I just didn't know when we were meeting.
No, what we're targeting is we're following Arcadis's lead, saying that
Okay.
that a building committee meeting in September, we would present a reconciled estimate. So in my notes, I had September 8th for that
Okay.
building committee meeting. Does that sound right?
September 8th is a Monday.
Second. It's the
Yeah.
second, actually, is the next meeting, and then
2nd and
2
the
weeks
9th.
after that.
Okay, so it would be the 16th.
Yeah. No, we're meeting the 2nd and then the 16th. Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So it would be the 16th. Okay.
Okay.
And by
Perfect.
the way, Michael or Randall, I understand that John was supposed to be heading up to, was it Manchester last week? Did he ever make that trip? Do you remember?
So we had a tour up in Manchester on Friday. I thought he might be there for that. He was not. However, I don't know if he had gone up independently and talked to them. So that I don't know where that stands.
Okay, we'll have to circle back with
Yeah.
John next
And
time.
I'll ping him to see where he is on that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, Greg, anything else on your end for tonight?
No,
I'm looking forward to seeing the first cut of numbers.
us too.
And,
And now also one thing you guys are going to be looking forward to is that logistics plan while construction's going on. We'll start showing those things too.
yeah, because that's going to impact your numbers, obviously. And so we want to make sure that gets in there and we have a nice, safe site as we're building this building. All righty. So the next topic is the date of our next meeting. As I mentioned, it's the 2nd. And I wanted to ask the committee if you would like to continue this virtual format at least until, say, the end of September, and on the 30th we can take up the question again. Is everybody comfortable and okay with virtual meetings all the way through the month of September?
Works for me. Yes.
Bob, you're good. Who is
Works for
that?
Andy.
Fran, you're okay with it?
I prefer in person, but I can do this. Yeah.
Yeah, we promise we'll go back to in person. Don't worry, in October.
I mean, Kevin's waiting for my cookies, so I can't deliver them virtually.
All right. How about you, Bill? You're okay with this for now?
Yeah, but like Fran said, I do prefer in person. And I know we'll eventually go back to that. So
Yep. Okay. And Jeff, you're okay for now?
Yeah, I'm good either way.
Okay. Andy, what's
Oh, yeah.
your thought? You're good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll stick with this format at least until the 30th. I think is our last meeting of September. We actually have 3 meetings, and then we can decide again whether we want to start meeting in person once again. All right. So unless there's any other business, that's really all we had on our list tonight. Are there any questions, comments, anything anybody wants to bring up?
Joe,
No?
I have a question. This is Bob.
Yeah, Bob.
Was it at the last meeting that the MEP guy said he was going to have some numbers for us for this meeting on some cost analysis on the 2 or 3 options we were looking at?
I think that we had looked at some numbers that I think Greg's team put together, and I think there was some question about the grid, and there might have been some questions about emergency power. But I think the three different options are still very much in play. And my recollection is there was option 2, 3, and 5 that we were
Yep.
still looking at, right?
Yep.
Right.
And that, the reason why I asked about John is because John was going to go up there and do a little reconnaissance and see if he was
Yes.
comfortable with that. So there's a little bit of information that's still out there, but
Okay.
it's still up in the air. Correct me if I'm wrong, Randall and Mike. What are we carrying for our base option? Is it option 5 for the estimate, or are we keeping that open? Just tell me how you guys are doing the estimating on that.
Yeah, it's the preferred option is our base option, but we're actually pricing when you go through the narrative, we're pricing 4 options. Because the option 2 we could do either a full geothermal plant or partial geothermal and with an air-cooled chiller as well. So we'll be able to toggle those back and forth as well. So with the SD pricing, we'll make a recommendation to you, but you should be able to see the first cost pricing for 4 systems.
Oh, that's perfect. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Any other questions for the team tonight? No? Okay. If not, I'd like to ask somebody to make a motion to adjourn. The next meeting, as I said, is the 2nd. So we've got a couple of weeks to the end of the summer. Hope everybody has a wonderful Labor Day coming up.
Motion
Oh,
to
Fran.
adjourn.
Thank you, Fran. Do I hear a second?
I'll second, Bill.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Abstentions? No. Motion carries. Great. Thank you, everybody.
Have a
Appreciate
good
the
night.
Thank you,
time.
everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.